been working here in the centre for 2 years now. Before that, I rear my family. But I've done a lot of childcare and a lot of childminding from home. So then I decided to get a part-time position here through CE scheme, so I could do some training as well.
I haven't been working for almost 2 years. I took time out from work because, number one, I was unwell, and number two, I wanted to go back to study. So I've been doing the Women's Studies programme here in the Women's Link Centre, and through that then learned about the domestic violence training programme, and then started to do that because I've become interested in the area of addiction studies and related studies to the women's group that I take part in here in the centre.
Well, before last July, I was a stay-at-home mum for some time.
Well, since I'd moved to Longford, initially I was commuting to Dublin, and then I found that quite tough. So then I was at home sending out CVs and cleaning the house and just walking around the streets of Longford, smiling at people.
I was actually quite surprised about the women that were on the training course. I was expecting maybe 5-10 people max, probably all older women, I thought. But I was so surprised by the amount of women there and such a varied type of women. It was just really strange for me. All very well educated. Most had some sort of a background in it. Maybe, they'd done a counselling course like I'm doing myself, or, everybody just touched on it in a different way.
Before I started in the centre, I was bringing up my family. I was doing child minding from home and doing babysitting and things like that. But I didn't have any training or anything like that, so I wanted to get training, that's why I came here.
The group of women I met in the group that were volunteers also, and the group of women that trained were absolutely outstanding women. Came from such a variety of, be it ages and professions, areas, everything. So it was extremely varied and very, very exciting because of that, The trainers in particular were so knowledgeable, but yet so down to earth, and really carried the message and what we needed to know extremely well, And the women that I trained with, we got on fantastically. We were all there for the one goal, and it really was a brilliant feeling being part of that group and that we could make a change.
I put my name down on FOSS and was called for an interview here. I started working in childcare then, which I hadn't done before.
I had my son about 2 years, over just 2 years ago, so I was taking care of him before I started working here. Before that, I'd done some waitressing, and I was kind of just doing different courses and that in the college in Longford, in legal studies and things like that, but none of them ever really suited me, so it was childcare that I wanted to get into, so this opportunity was great to get into it.
Well, I noticed the ad in the Longford Leader, and I was reading it and I thought, God, yeah, it would be something I'm interested in. Now, I was very wary at first because my knowledge on domestic violence wouldn't be great. So I just said, well, there's no harm in ringing up, having a chat with someone and seeing will I go for it. So that's what I did. I rang up, heard a little bit more about it and decided, yeah, I want to find out more.
I thought, well, maybe I can be some small bit, not in an egotistical way, I assure you, but just maybe that I could talk to some other woman, become friends or whatever.
My day-to-day life for the last year was kind of traumatic. I had been ill for a year and I'd had a kidney removed. So I was enforced to be very quiet and still for 1 year, and I really wanted, I'm a person that likes to be up and going, and I wanted to get back in there. So this was my start back when I saw this ad. So yes, and I've been very grateful. It's given me a whole new start again.
I suppose one of the reasons also really I got involved in the project would be a major interest and a plan to study psychology. So further down the line, I would really like to think that I would be able to marry my major, obviously, interest and passion for women's rights and the domestic violence area with the psychology area in years to come.
week was absolutely amazing. They're an amazing bunch of people that came to the week's training. They come from all various backgrounds. They're different age groups. We all connected very well, I think, because we all have a common goal, and that is to help other women in our community and our society. So we all connected very well.
During the week, well, first of all, I think we made friends. We learned about different people. We experienced something that I enjoyed quite an amount. It's been quite a time from I was with a group of women and exchanged views. We covered childcare, we covered health and safety, first aid. We did quite an amount over 5 days, and I felt it was very productive.
There was a good cross-section of women. Obviously the first day people are uncomfortable with each other, but as I said, there was women from all different walks of life, and at the end of the day we were there just as women, regardless of income or, you know, that was a good thing, because at the end of the day we all come out feeling stronger.
Well, the week of training was hard. We were exhausted in the evening times, probably sitting there all day long. It was very intense. The things that came out and the things that we were told, it was quite frightening at times, but very surprising for me. I didn't realise half of what actually went on in domestic violence.
The training, the course that we did, the training week, apart from, as I said before, the friend that I was so close to, I really didn't realise what another person would be going through. My reaction was, and even back then, get up and go. Why should you have to put up with that? But then when we went through the course that week, I realised that's not the case.
The reason I would have found it good is because of the different opinions, because of the different age groups and the different backgrounds. I think that it sort of, broadened the whole aspect of it, and we sort of picked up on what everybody else was saying and their views and maybe what they had gone through, some of them.
It certainly did have a life of its own, because it was a very good group. Lots of ideas were exchanged, some personal information also exchanged, and it brought about a feeling of camaraderie. By the end, because we worked in smaller groups, we got to know each other much more quickly. And at the end of it, we're 3 weeks away from that final session, and I think all of us have met again several times. So that's good. That's good for the community.
I would actually maybe extend the course over 2 weeks and not have it all, trudged into 1 week, because it's very hard to take everything in. And people are coming in and they're giving their views and different things they know about, but we don't have the time, or maybe we're not picking up on it enough because we're there all day and it's a long day. So I think if it was spread over 2 weeks, it'd be better.
We had a long week of training. It did fly, but there was a lot involved in it. It involved a number of speakers, two from the HSC that stuck out, who spoke on domestic violence specifically in a lot of detail, and one on child protection, as well as other speakers on different areas. And we went into detail on other areas that may be related specifically to the sector, be it equality, and also the different roles potentially that we could play as a volunteer, which was fascinating. It was very well organised, I felt, the training, very well structured. So it was equal parts of, it was intense, it was quite serious, important, but quite fun and light-hearted in other ways too. Very well done, really.
Putting our prior learnings together, what we have done years ago, we're writing it all down. What we're doing for the last year, we're putting it all down in a book. And we're looking back at the end of what we have done and what we have learned from every task that we have done at work.
Every second Monday we do an RPL training with Leanda. We've learned a lot. I've learned When I heard the word CV, I was scared. I didn't know what it was, how to do it. But with the help of Pauline and Leanda, got it all done. I've learned my communication skills, and I've learned more about myself. I'm more outgoing now.
The RPL is recognising skills that you have, skills that you kind of built up over the years. Things you learned years ago and you might have thought were not good now. Maybe secretarial skills or computer skills. And maybe you have to brush up on them a little, but you can still use them. It's just using stuff that you've already learned.
It makes it a lot easier that you can come to work and you have your day off and you can go in and you can do your studies with Leanta. Instead of going off to college every day, and then late home and with your child, having to look after your child, you can do it here in 4 hours. And I find it very good, and she helps me. And then you get homework to bring home and you study it. I find it very good, and you're taught differently as an adult here than as when you grow up, like when you're a child.
Well, you have, like it's communications and the whole lot. You put that together, and if you've got any photographs there, what you do in the creche, you have got a book and you're supposed to write down your involvements in the creche. I think that's very good,
It's great just to keep everything that you have, and you can use all of that for your portfolio. And like Leanda said, the more you put in, the more you get out of it.
Well, I find the group is very helpful.
It's easier because we all know each other so well working together, and we all kind of help each other.
We help each other when we're stuck.
Well, the portfolio is kind of split in two. First, we have a kind of extended CV where we put down all our prior work and training, and any training we have done through the years up to now. And then another part of it is we keep records of what we're doing now here in the centre, activities we do with the children, and we have evidence in the form of photographs, take photographs of ourselves doing the activities with the children. We also have samples of the activities we do. If we do a card or anything like that, then we put the card in to our portfolios.
Well, it's a multicultural centre, so until I worked here in Longford, I wouldn't have mixed with people from other nationalities so much as I would do here. I would have done previously when I lived in England, but it's very women-based, very directed towards women get back to work, and the staff are from all different walks of life.
I think it's great. I think it's great that here is so different cultures, we learn different customs. Through the children here in the centre, we do different activities, and we had just last week we had Africa as a theme for the week. So we learned loads about the children's backgrounds and their cultures and that.
My understanding of the centre, of what it was and what it did, was extremely limited. I really did not know a lot about the centre until I got involved with the volunteer group. But since I got involved, I realised that the centre has been established for a number of years. They help people in a number of different sectors or aid women, be it in education, be it in childcare, be it in domestic violence, in quite a wide variety of areas. And it's just a fantastic institution to have, and I think we in Longford are so lucky to have this, and if we had this in every town in Ireland, we'd be doing really well.
We feel very, respected here as well. We feel like we're needed, and whereas you don't in a lot of jobs, you don't feel like you're needed, or you don't get respect, or just like everybody seems to get along here. There's none of the cattiness or anything like that up here. So and everybody, the managers and everyone's very approachable.
Working here has made an awful lot of difference to me because I lived out the country for 16 years before coming into town. When I came into town then I just did childcare and childmind, and I really didn't think I had anything to focus on or anything to look forward to. And then I came here and I started doing my training, and now I'm doing level 5. Hopefully I'll qualify and maybe even someday open my own creche.
What it did initially for me was it gave me great confidence meeting people in the area. And I suppose instantly after the first couple of hours, after the first day, I really felt I belonged. And the people were lovely. All the women were really friendly. And I kind of felt, yeah, this is something I can do.
The women's studies course and then the domestic violence training have totally affected me. I've been changing gradually since I started the women's studies course, but then the week for the domestic violence training, I can't think of a word to use now to explain this. That particular week definitely strengthened my belief that we can do much more to help the women that are in troubled relationships in our community, and I'd like to be part of that.
Well, it's totally changed my life coming here on a CE scheme, because I found that through doing the RPL and through other courses they have on offer here, it gives you a great sense of confidence in yourself. It makes you realise that you can go further in life. And I probably, if I hadn't came to work here, I wouldn't have believed in myself to go on and do the job that I'm doing now.
I suppose the way it's changed me, the RPL, is that it does give you more confidence, and because you know, like, you kind of evaluate yourself and what positives you have and strengths you have and weaknesses you have. And as Leanne says, you know, you don't really have weaknesses at all, like, but I suppose at home it does. I suppose at home it does, because it helps you to be a better person at home as well, rather than, you know, whereas one time you'd walk in and maybe you wouldn't be as very appreciative of things that you would have had at home, whereas now you can stand up and be thankful for, like, you know, and say how you feel, like, for something very small. So it was hard, but you know, you kind of got out. Pauling's very good help. I've learned so much about things that things you never knew about kids, how to learn to care with them, you know, for their needs. Some kids are like, you need one-to-one. We've learned communication skills. We've learned a lot more about ourselves and our friends and others. We've got to do our extended CV. We're going to be doing training on interviews now, which will help us for, as I leave here in September, I'm hoping to get into another place, and interviewing skills, I think, is very important. So I think I've learned lots.
Yeah, it's sort of as well, you know, you find out things about yourself that you didn't realise, things that you're able to, skills and things
Strengths.
that you didn't realise that you had, that you never thought about. So when you look back at it on paper and stuff like that, it's like a great achievement, like, so.
I would say the skills I picked up, number one, would be listening. Really just trying to take in as much as I could. Also be made aware that really you're going to be there to listen to the person. That's the most important thing. It's not about your views, it's not about trying to give advice, it's just about listening.
Well, number one is I've gained a lot of confidence, and to work as a team, you know, and working in the women's centre, you're never alone. And like, even you can go to the manager or any of the crowd and you're not afraid, you know, to approach them. And if there's something you're not sure of, they'll help you. Whereas if you were anywhere else, well, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
No.
I would like to work with children, but it's given me, I suppose, a more realistic view of how in this world today, in 2007, how I would work with children as opposed to when mine were small.
Well, I've changed as a person, because a year ago I wouldn't have had the confidence possibly to do what I'm doing today, and they've built my confidence and they've been very supportive.
Well, towards the creche, I notice things more now, and I'm looking out for things, and I'll write it down what happened to the child, and I'll think, what have I learned from that? And then I'll do it differently in the creche and in my home life. It's made me more confident. I feel more challenged that I can do more courses now. I don't feel as nervous doing courses. I'm a more confident person, and go out and take more challenges, meet people, talk better.
I usually work on my own, I work my own initiative, and I think I'm very good at it. But I also find now that I work well within a group, and it's good to have the backup and the support of the group, and then you change, I swap ideas around.
I'm a stronger person. I've just discovered during that course just things that have happened through my life that has actually made me a really, really strong person. So I'm stronger than I thought I was.
I feel becoming part of a group, such an amazing group of women, has been absolutely fantastic. It's been such a great feeling to feel part of this group, and that we all want to make a change and to really help break down these barriers. It's also made me, I suppose, more confident in one way, and confident of how we can help and how we can change this situation, as opposed to feeling like you can't change on your one person. You really are part of a group who can make a difference, which is a brilliant, brilliant feeling.
Working here has given me the confidence to look to the future and to realise that I do have a future. I think if I was still sitting at home, still doing the childminding from home, I wouldn't have the ambition I have now.
We're on the ground now. We're starting off with this childcare thing. God knows where it can go and what sort of future it has. So we're at the start of something big, I would feel, for the Longford area. And if you look at the amount of creches and things coming up Edgeworthstown, and there's a few more around, so the panel, it seems, will be a worthwhile thing to have.
Because I've done this has proved to me that I'm able to do courses. So I would go on to do more courses. I'll go on to do level 5 in childcare, and that will help me to work in the creche.
As far as my involvement is concerned, I hope to do the administration work here in the office and do some one-on-one work also with some of the women that need some help. Personally, I'd like to do as much training as possible, so any training that comes along, I hope to be able to take part in that. Again, so that it will work with my women's studies course and the addiction course that I'm doing, so I can use them all together and maybe get a job in the Women's Link Centre at some point.
So I'd like to just go on to a childcare course.
The centre is excellent for providing training, and hopefully to go on with my career with the support of the management and staff in Longford Women's Links, who are always coming up with great courses that will be of benefit to me, and also the CE staff, or wherever your work lies.
There's a very untapped amount of people out there that are very anxious to help. Everybody can do something. It might be an hour, 2 hours, others it could be a full day. And it would make you very happy to see that in Ireland women are now standing up and willing to help other women, because that's been needed for quite a long, long time.
I would very much recommend becoming a volunteer for Longford's Women's Link from a relationship communication point of view, meeting so many fantastic other women from around the locality in itself, as well as from be it a learning point of view, regardless of which sector you're going into, you're going to learn so much as regards from a training perspective, and really from building confidence point of view, from a personal, which is amazing obviously also, as well as being able to give back. And I think the feeling that you get from being able to assist, help or advise or to give back to the community is absolutely insurmountable. You can't compare it. It's fantastic. You can't what's the word? You can't put a price on the feeling that you get from giving back. It's brilliant.